okay, because I've lost some footage, and part of the reason is I deleted the file because I actually assembled the board wrong. I'm just doing this update here because we've got to finish putting this board together so that we can get the CB1, which is here, installed, and then you don't have to have the drivers in to actually do the programming for the, like, because we're going to have to do the programming for all the CanBus software and stuff like that. So what we need to do is we need to set jumpers on here. So these A and B A motors are set up for HV stuff, high voltage, like 52 volts up to. But it doesn't matter if you haven't got the power supply to push that voltage, it's not going to bother it anyway. So that's no problem at all. So that's the B motor, A motor, that's and then so all of the drivers, this was the confusing part for me. So okay, so we've got you've got to run the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumpers there, 2 on the left and the rest on the right. And then these are the power voltage ones. They've got to go second one in from the this is the red one. So I'll show you on my other drawing here. Yeah, so they've got red kind of upside down L's. That's your positive power, and your earth on this one here on these down bars. So so basically, because I'm doing sensorless homing, there's a couple of diag jumpers that need to be as extras put in here, pretty much at the bottom of the black of this black one here. These two here, that one and that one there, they're the diagnostics. So you need those set up, as well as leaving these in place instead of, because I actually took them out and put them in because I thought that's what you needed to do, but you don't. Okay, so and then once you actually assemble them, you assemble your drivers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. But the trick is to actually not do your cabling like that. So I'll show you how the cabling needs to go. I should have a photo here somewhere. Where is it? There. So that's, I know the board's upside down, but basically that's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that's your B motor, A motor, Z, Z1, Z2, Z3. So the difference is you need to have the A and B motors plugged in, then you skip one, and then you go Z. So that's you can see that Z0, Z1, Z2 and Z3. And there's a little 2-pin plug here that you miss as well. So if you've got that right, and you've got all of your jumpers, there's all my voltage jumpers there, 1, 2, they're all silver, 3, 4, 5 and 6, don't worry about these two. And then your diagnostics there, 1 and 2 at the end of the black part. If you're doing sensorless homing, if you're not doing sensorless homing, you leave these two out. Okay. So that's that part kind of discussed, and now we can carry on with the rest of the setting up the electronics and CanBus and everything before it goes into the machine. So now we're going to install the CB1, which is a replacement of the Raspberry Pi. So instead of having to have Raspberry Pi and an extra 5 volt power supply, this is an all-in-one kit that basically clips into the Manta board, which is pretty cool. It's got wireless, and you just basically plug the memory card into the side of the Manta board and you're away pretty much, which we'll show you. So you've got to line those pins up on there, and then you just click it in one side and then the other. that's that installed. The CB1's installed already. So now we're starting to put together the components needed to. So I've got some sheathing on those 24 volt wires in case it shorts out on the board. It's just a little bit of Bowden tube just cut off. So we're going to plug the CanBus into the board, into the Manta board, which goes into that port right there. That's CAN 0, and there's one next to it as well, which both of them are CAN ports. So that's that end hooked up, and so basically what we're going to do is configure all these boards, supply power to them all, and get them up and running, and then program the whole lot sitting on the bench, and then test it, make sure it's all working before it goes into the machine. That's the theory behind it all. So there's a 5 volt supply that I've got there ready to go from the computer. That's actually plugged into a computer. That's the SB2209 right there that I've just put down. That's the CanBus cable. It's the main CanBus cable with the 24 volt with the big cables, and the little ones are the CanBus 5 volt. That plugs into there. Okay, so it's got that's got the little jumper there as a 5 volt jumper. It needs a 5 volt jumper to power that board up when doing programming, and that one there is for the 120 resistor. That jumper stays on. The USB only is on there during that initial programming setup, because once it's programmed you pull that jumper out, and the main power cable will feed that from the main back from the machine once it's actually installed. There's a set of jumpers there for the fans on the tool head itself. Hey, Wester here. Okay, so if you've been watching my videos so far, we've done all the jumpers on the M8P board. So we've done all the jumpers, we've done all of the top row jumpers, we've done the jumpers in through here, we've done the 120 resistor jumper for the CanBus for the master, and you also need to do on your CanBus board, you also need to do the 120R jumper on that, because that's the tail end of the system. So you need one at the start, one at the end. We've got the CanBus cable connected into the into the CanBus board, and we've got the other end of actually. Once you actually plug this into the system, there's a red and black cable here. I've just cut off a little bit of Bowden tube, and just the process of cutting it off with the side cutters has given it enough compression to hold that on there, so you don't. I'm not going to have any potential damage shorting out the board if it does touch any of the hundreds of pins on here. And then your CanBus high and low is plugged into the second port there, which I'll show you which I'll show you in my videos. So now that that's all done, that's pretty much ready. Oh, and obviously you've got your USB jumper here, over here, which I'll show you a good photo of that and everything. So that's ready to plug the USB into here, so that'll power up the M8P board, and that'll also supply power to this master control board for the CanBus. And then, so what we need to do now, it's kind of like all over the place, but this is a good place to start now. So now we're basically, so we've got all these outputs done, so we're on the wiki page. This is actually quite hard to find, I thought, but anyway, you're looking for Flash M8P and Ebb SB board. So we've got the wiring recommendations, the jumpers and that, they haven't covered that in here because it's in the main part. It's actually in the, there's a PDF. You're kind of like jumping backwards and forwards. No, that's a big tree one. So I think there is actually, I can't remember where it is now, but there is in this area in the wiki MPX wiki page, there is something in there around all the configuration of the things. I'll do some homework on that. Well, I have done some homework on that, and I've actually just completed all that, so I'll give you the link during that part of the video, so just in case. So what we need to do now, we're actually so make sure you've got your jumper on the VUSB for temporarily. So this has to come off once you've finished programming, but temporarily powering the board up, you can put a jumper on there and then plug into here, and that will power the board up. And then you've got a plug into here, the CanBus high and low leads, and that will power up the actual board, this little board here. So yeah, so that's the EBB. This one's an EBB SB 209, I believe. On this one. Yep. SB 2209 CAN board. Okay, so but the pinout's the same there. So you need the jumper on the 120 resistor for the end of line for the CanBus, and you need the USB 5 jumper as well. So, oh great, there's a little picture that I've supplied them, so that's great. Just thought it would be easier for you to see, because this is plugged in, but when you're looking at the board, it's kind of like very difficult to see what's going on there. So there's a little jumper that you plug onto there and another one onto there. Anyway, okay, so wiring, we've got the USB to plug into the Manta board in here, so that powers up the board. And then you've got this CanBus connector connected into the CanBus board, and then the two cables into there, and then just the jumpers as we just mentioned. So without further ado, now that that's all done, now we can move on to the flashing of the CanBus 1 control board. So you want to go for the latest. Try and go for the. I have not done this, by the way, ever. So I'm just learning as you guys are. So wish us well. So yeah. So what we need to do, we need to go to the latest image name. Start with latest image name that starts with CB1 Debian 11 Klipper from GitHub. And so we've got to copy this link. And I'll try and open up another page. See if that comes up. Oh, yep, so we've got version 2.3.3, and this is a changelog with all the bugs that have been fixed in it here. and you can click on this link here, and that takes you to the page, and we want to go to the image. We don't want to do the source code, we want to do the biggest. I think it might be something like this here. What did that page say? It just said Klipper. So this one's the largest file, so I would suspect that that's the one. Note, if you use minimal vision of the image, oh, so there is a little one. Additional settings are required for installing Klipper screen. So we're just gonna, I'm just gonna go for the largest one here, which is 1.24 gigabytes. So we'll just click on that, and we'll download. I'll create a new folder called image downloads. Firmware. Firmware downloads. Dyslexic today. Here we go. So yeah, so we'll save that. So that may take a little while to download, and we'll go back to here while that's downloading. So if you've got BALENA, so I use BALENA ETCHER anyway for doing my stuff. So I'll see if it actually comes up. Here it is. So you can either download and install BALENA ETCHER, or you can use the they're actually telling you to use that, but you can use that, or you can use the Raspberry Pi imager as well. So yeah, so I use BALENA ETCHER. So this could be a two-part video. Basically, I'm just about to head off somewhere, so flash it onto your card here, your TF card. You don't need to unzip the image. Okay. Yep, sweet as, got that covered. So we need to get a micro card, SD micro card, and chuck that on that, which I'll do once it's downloaded. So while the flash is done, replug the TF card. There, have a boot partition shown on your PC. That doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm going to have to figure that out. I'm not sure what that is. But basically it's telling you to, yeah, I don't know. I'd say what that's saying is plug the TF card, or the micro card, into your machine, and I'll be using like a card reader with that does the micro cards, and the all three different sizes. But so we're just going to be using a micro SD card. So that's what it's saying. Basically, once you've flashed it onto that micro card, there'll be a boot partition shown on the PC once you replug it back in again, I'm assuming. And then there's a system config file in there, system.cfg, which is this one here, and you just need to change your wireless Wi-Fi settings to your own. So you'll have in here, it looks like this is a CFG file, down to Wi-Fi name, put your SSID in there, in the parentheses here, and then your Wi-Fi password in here, so in the brackets. Don't delete the parentheses. So that's all you need to do, and then just install the TF card into the M8P and install CB1 to M8P. Okay. Install the TF card into the M8P. Note, the TF card or the SD card must be installed to the SoC card, not the MCU card. Okay, alright, so on this board, I'll just unclip this. So on this M8P board, there are, I think it's underneath, yeah, it is. There's two SD ports, one there and one there. One there and one there. So don't use this one here. This one, don't plug into that one, plug it into this one. That's the one you use. It'll have, yeah, it's got SoC card on it. SoC card right there. So I'm just waiting for that to download, and we will be right back. Okay, so we finally got that file downloaded. We had some problems with my VPN. So I've got a 16 gig class 10 micro SD here, and I've got my reader, my card reader here, which takes big and small cards. So I'll just put that in there. Not sure which way this goes. Pretty sure it goes in that way, so I'll just put that in into my computer. Okay, let's pick something up. I'll see if it's actually the drive H. Yep. Okay, it's picked up drive H. So it's not accessible, so let's right, so I'll just okay, hang on a sec, I'll just bring this over. So when I plug in my drive, it's H, so I'll right click on that, go to properties, see what it comes up with. It actually says it's nothing there. I wonder if I need to format that drive. No, it's saying it's only 500 meg, that's not right. Maybe I've got this upside down. No, it's definitely not that way. It's supposed to be a 16 gig drive. Well, it is a 16 gig drive. Okay, we'll try it again. It's popping up. That's weird, it says it's 0. So even if I go to format it, Oh yeah, there you go. That's it. So I'll just start a quick format. That was strange. 500 meg. Okay, so that's fine. That's, yep, cool. Okay, so that's there. Now I've just got to go and find the other drive location. So that's in the Voron section. Firmware downloads. Which one's which? Okay, so I'll delete that one because it's only 240 meg. That one is 1.23 gig, and the original is 1.24 gig. Okay, so now we need to do a search for BALENA ETCHER. So we'll flash from a file. And let's just jump back into this location. Copy text address. And paste that in there and select this. Select the target, so it's going to be this device. Yes, it is. Mass storage device USB, H drive, which we know it is definitely H drive. Select and flash. So that's going to flash this Debian image straight into the SD drive. I'll just pause it and release it a few times during this process because it could take up to 10-15 minutes. Okay, it's ETA saying it's going to be 5 minutes, so it's at 2 now, 3%, 4%. While it's doing that, let's move this over and carry on reading through what we need to do here. Because as I said, I have not done this, so yeah, so once it's done, I'll log into that file and see what's, and then we need to change the Wi-Fi user SSID to your own one and password as your password. And then we need to install the SD card into the M8P, which we talked about before, and then we would make sure we put in the SoC card slot. So we power it on and wait a few minutes, and we should see the CB1 IP address on your router. Okay, so I need to do oh yeah, so I've got an app on here called Advanced IP Scanner. That should find, let's hang on just before we do that, let's see what our IP address is. So get a command prompt up and go, okay, we have got IP address. Okay, so we're on the 192.168 network. So I'll change this. So So we'll just look at this network, and we'll wait once this here's done its job. So we're at 46% now, so not too much longer to go. It shouldn't take too long. There we go. Okay, completed. So we don't need to flash anymore. Let's close it down. Okay, that was quite painful to watch myself go through that the first time. Yeah, no, I've been I've been through it a few times now, so I've got a bit more of an understanding of what we need to do. So there's a few gaps in my material. So we've done the BALENA etcher, we've put it on the drive, we've powered up the Manta board and the CB1 board, and now we're trying to connect to that. One last thing to mention is that if you have booted up your machine, you'll see a green light on there, and after about 15 seconds you should see some lights flash up on this network card like that. So that tells you that the system's booted up. It may or may not have an IP address, but it's booted the system up. You've got your 5 volt and your 3.3 volt there because we're powered up through the USB. And now we can move into the other video. So basically what we need to do is confirm that so if you've got it set up on a wireless network, and you're on a PC, you also need to be on that same network. So I'm just going to check that. So go CMD for command, enter, and then just go IP config. And I am on 50.12. Yep, that's a Wi-Fi adapter, so it's 50.12. So basically I need to be on the .50 network, so we need to open up IP scanner or your IP tool. So I'll just go IP scanner. So now, yeah, so it's set up for 192.168.50.1 through to 254. Hit scan. And we're trying to find the device. So it doesn't come up as CB1, BTT-CB1. It identifies that when you're actually logging into it, but yeah, it doesn't actually come up on the screen like that at all. So this software here, it's got little drop downs here on the left here, so I just click on that and that's the one there, main sale. So it's let's click on it and see if we can get into it. Oh, there you go, it's there. So that's $50.11, so we'll copy that. And we need to open up, it's called MOBA Xterm. So we need to configure this MOBA Xterm to just auto log in every time. It's just easy. This is an older config that I got set up with a different IP address, but you'll get the point. You put in the IP address that your machine was, which we just showed how to do. And basically you're going to create a username and a password, and so that it will remember it every time. It's a lot easier than having to jump in and log in all the time. So we'll just watch this little video that I made for myself earlier on, and this is how you do it. So click on session and then SSH, and put in the IP address that you found before. In this case it's going to be 168.168.50.1. 10.77. Specify username, tick that, and hit the people, and then go to passwords. No, should go to credentials. New. Put in the name of Klipper or CB1 or whatever you want to do, doesn't matter, SSH. Username is BIQU lowercase, password BIQU lowercase. And then go OK and OK. And now you should be able to put that default as that and go OK, and it should drop. Yeah, there it is. It drops up on the left hand side, and you've got access to all the files inside that system. Great. Now we can move back into the other program. Yeah, so that's not going to work, so I need to start a new one. Session, SSH, paste that address in there, remove the HTTP and everything, so it's 192.168 in my case, 50.11, and then go OK, accept, and login is BIQU. I might not like it, so I'll try BIQU. It might not like it because I put capital letters in. Yeah. So make sure your caps lock's off. BIQU. Okay, I'll log in again. So I'll try again. Doesn't like caps. Paste that in, remove that, remove the HTTP and just go 192.168. whatever, and go OK. Log in as BIQU lowercase, BIQU lowercase. Okay, we are connected. Alright, so that's a great sign. So now we're connected, I can move on to my other footage and we can carry on from that point. So we're basically going to be setting up a CAN network adapter, just like a USB dongle or network card, and configure it, but it needs to be configured. It doesn't auto configure itself. So there's no auto negotiation system with the CanBus system, unlike a 7-layer network system for IP internet protocol. So basically we're going to put the Klipper into on the Manta board into bridge mode, and that'll allow us to be able to communicate and upload some files and stuff through the CanBus cabling system to the toolboard. So without further ado, we need to basically check to see what's going on the network. So we're just going to go ls USB, and that's telling us, I'll move myself over to this side, maybe I'll move myself up to here. So that's telling us that we've got the CAN adapter is set up and running on bus 2 device 11. It's got an ID address of 1D50:606F for Foxtrot. So we can do a little bit more looking in, and we can look in a bit more in depth as well if we're looking for stuff. So we can go into here and type ifconfig, which is your interface config. So that tells us that we've got your CAN 0's definitely there, you've got an Ethernet 0 definitely there, and you've got a loopback and wireless LAN. So let's crack in, and we'll do it when need to do our updates. So we'll do the updates. See if I can copy all of these updates at once and paste them in here and see what happens. So it may or may not need updates, but it's a good idea to just check them. Once it's done the updates, we can move on to the next section and we're just going to check the CB1 CAN bridge bitrate. And we do that by, on page 11, we'll type in the code, copy and paste the code. Okay, so it didn't need any updates, they're all done. So we've just got a CAN 0 allowed hot plug interface, CAN 0 CAN static with 1,000,000 bit rate, which is great. So that's all good. We can Control X to get out of there. And now we need to go sudo reboot. This will take about 15 to 20 seconds and you'll see your network card on your Manta will flash 3 times the green and yellow LEDs. Not sure if you'll be able to see it. There we go, 3 flashes. Okay, so now we press R to return. And now we need to flash the Manta board. So to do that we need to change directories into Klipper. So I'll copy that out of my tutorial. And we need to do a make menu config. So we'll copy that and paste that out of the tutorial on page 13. So that'll bring up the interface. This is probably set up correctly, but we'll just double check. So we just need to go in. Yes, it's STM microelectronics. So it's running the Manta board. STM32G G0B1 is the correct interface processor model. 8 megahertz, 8 kilobits. We need to set this up on CanBus bridge on PA 11 and 12 and change this parameter to PD 12 and 13. Oh, PA 12 and 13. Hang on, where is that? Oh, sorry, PD 12 and 13. Yep. So the first part's PA 11 and 12. We need 1,000,000 set up on this, that's correct, and GPU. Okay, so that's fine. Q for quit, Y for save. Move on to the next part. Type make, MAKE, lowercase. So that's going to make the Klipper config, out/klipper.bin. So now we need to set the Manta board into DFU mode by holding down the boot 0 and clicking reset, releasing reset, and then releasing BTO. So we need to, and to confirm that it's in DFU mode, we just need to, I'll just move myself across again. We just need to confirm that it's, once it's finished this linking, to Klipper.elf will continue, and we need to first of all check the status that we're in, so LSUSB. So that's, better click on the page, LSUSB. So that tells us that we've got a CAN adapter, but it is it's just a normal mode, so we need to switch that over to DFU mode. So we'll go up here, out of the way. So we need to switch into DFU mode, so we need to hold down the boot, reset, and then we'll do the LS USB again. Okay, so now that device, now my Klipper device is in DFU mode, which is perfect. So now we need to flash the device, so we're going to flash the board, copy that line, and flash the board. So it's got that address there matches this address here, 483DF11. If yours is different, you need to change this line to suit. So that should come through with a successful install. There we go, downloaded successfully. Don't worry about the error 255, that's normal. Okay, so that's through that part. So that's the Manta board done. Great job. So now we need to check the UUID address, the unique user ID. So we're going to paste that. Oh, got my toolboard connected. Okay, we'll do that again. There we go. So it's picked up the Klipper board. That's it there, all ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to work through the Klipper stuff on the 2209 stuff. So we've got to first of all make sure that your USB jumper and your 120R jumpers are terminated and connected. So we're going to CD back to root, so CD space ... and that takes us back to root directory. We're going to basically download and install CanBus. So we're going to copy the git clone line and paste that there. So that installs CanBus. We're going to CD to CanBus and do a menu, make menu config. So I'll wait for that to install, which is done. I need to change directory to CanBus. Note it's got the capital C and the capital B, otherwise it won't work. And we need to make config. That's going to bring the yellow screen up. Okay, so on page 16, 17, 18, we've got the, you need to match up this stuff. So we need to hit enter here and change this to STM32. Change this one here to the STM32G0B1. Change communications on PB0 and PB1, and change a CanBus speed, delete that, to 1 million, 123, 123. Change the enabled LED and change the LED pin out to capitals PA13. And then Q and Y. Okay, so that gets us through that process. Now we need to type make, M-A-K-E. No, we've got to do it in lowercase. So that's doing that part. Now we need to power up the Ebb SB 2209 board. Just by plugging the USB into it. Get that connected. A green and red light should light up on it. If not, you haven't got your USB jumper connected. So that's that done. There's a bit of information there on 19 and 20 on the exact pin out. Your CAN cable's got to be connected to the CAN port on the Manta board, which shows at the top of on page 20. It shows you that information, and we basically need, so you just can't see that USB port on the picture that I've got there, because it's impossible to see the both together. You might be able to see the cable coming off on the top picture of page 20, but so the next stage is to put the 2209, the SB2209 into boot mode. So first of all, let's have a look at the ls USB command and see what's online. So we've got nothing in development mode. So we need to change this one into development mode. So we've got to do the sequence and see what happens. ls USB, and there we go, straight away we've got it into. So hold down boot, press and release reset, and then release boot as shown. So press and hold boot, and then press and release reset, and then release boot. That will put it into DFU mode on page 21. So next minute, so that confirms using the ls USB, confirms that we've got the tool head or the SB2209 in DFU mode, and now we need to flash it. So now we're going to load the set of files here, and the EB2209 is now successfully flashed. So we need to flash Klipper by USB, so we need to change directories to Klipper. And make menu config. And we need to change this back to the CanBus for the channel. So we've got to go to PBO1, which is the same as the toolboard. That's everything we need to change here because the speed's the same. So we go Q and Y for save. Okay, almost there. So now we need to type make. And we need to put the toolboard back into DFU mode, which we need to check if it is or not in that mode. Wait till it compiles. So we need to use the good old tried and trusted ls USB. Nearly done. USB. Okay, so yeah, it's still in DFU mode, so that's good. So that's fine. And now we need to flash it. Copy that. Paste that. Let that do its thing. So now that should have completed the process completely. So now we need to do some checks. So we're going to do a CAN boot check. So on the SB2209, we need to double press the reset button, and you should get a flashing light coming up like so on the board every second, one red flash. So what we need to do is copy this Python query and see what's going on the network. So that's a good thing. We've got the top line is the Klipper uuid, which is on the Klipper side of the network, and that's sending data to the CanBus side. So now we need to basically just change this out of DFU mode, and we'll just quickly check that by doing the LUSB, which, yep, that's correct. So now we can do another query and see if we get two devices on the same network, which we do. So that's it. So both of those are actually on the Klipper and Klipper. Klipper's on the board, Klipper's on the Manta, and they are communicating because we've flashed them with the CanBus cabling. So that's it, easy peasy. Well, not that easy, but that's it. Pretty less than 20 minutes in the configuration part. If you muck it up, go right back to page 9, work through the process. You've missed something, and you'll be able to sort it out. If you find you're having errors with the CanBus, etc., you can go and connect in. So if I need to close this out because it's not showing the CanBus folder, so if I close it and reconnect, it should show me the CanBus connection file. Yeah, can boot, there it is. So that's there. So now the last thing we need to do, because it didn't work the first time round, is open up a browser and log in and see if we can log in. So we go 192.168.10.77 in this case. Yours will be your IP address of the your system. We'll get this out of the way. We need to go to machine, and we need to do all of these updates here. So there's quite a few updates. So update all components, and that'll download and install all of the updates and get your Klipper up to date. And once that's done, you can pretty much buy this thing into the printer and start working through the rest of the process. So hopefully this speeds things up, because it's taken me a lot of time to figure out how this actually works. And there's 5 different ways to skin a cat. There's, one tutorial says to do this, another tutorial says to do that. The last thing you also need to do is make sure you remove the 2 USB jumpers one off the Manta board, one off the USB, the SB2209 boards. Once you've got those off, then you can just power it up with your power supply to your Manta board, and then the Manta board will supply power via the CanBus cable to the toolboard. So so it's just going to work through this process here of doing the updates, and we should be golden from there. So thanks for tuning in and being patient with this whole process, but honestly it's taken me probably a good 3 days of trialing and erroring, and mostly erroring, and then figuring out what I've done wrong, understanding the process. Because you've got to basically put it into CanBus bridge mode to be able to. Okay, so that's rebooting. By the looks of it, should be pretty much done. Still downloading a couple of stuff. Right, so we'll just let that do its thing. And it looks like it's all up to date. I'm not sure what these errors are. I haven't figured that part out yet. But anyway, CanBus is sorted. so that's the hard part, doing the CanBus. This part here should be a lot easier to figure out. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Westy over now.